Cameras rolling. Here we go. Here we go. Good morning out there in video land. We got all our mics rolling. All the lights are green, Mike.
Beautiful.
The recorder's going over here. Give us a little
You can
one,
hear
two.
me? Hello, everybody out there in
You're loud and clear,
land.
You're loud and clear, my friend.
And out there live to air on the radio.
There you go. Thank you for tuning into Your City, Your Voice. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is my guest today. We have Mike LUCID, who is a business owner in downtown Niagara Falls and has been for how many years now?
5
years.
5 plus.
And he sees a lot of what's going on with downtown. Now, if you remember, about a month ago or so, we had Mike LUCID.
June 28th.
June 28th. So.
First podcast ever, and absolutely loved it, to talk about something that I feel passionate about. I don't often want to get into low vibrations, but this one here I had to. And really proud of that on June 28th. So thank you, Paul, for having me back.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, actually, because a big issue in Niagara Falls is this University of Niagara Falls, where there were claims made by the mayor a couple of years ago when he sat in this studio right here with me before the election of 10 to 20,000 students being in Niagara Falls, redoing the whole downtown, the whole 10 yards he was up to. And of course, we haven't seen close to anything like that yet. And there's some other issues that revolve around exactly what the University of Niagara Falls is. And Mike came here June 28th for part one. And part one was about the University of Niagara Falls. We're going to do a quick review on that in a second so that we can catch you kind of up of what it's all about. And then Mike's got some new information. He's going to go through in part two, some new information, which I think everybody's going to find interesting. And we see this popping up on City Council with Lori Lococo saying there's going to be 1,000 to 2,000 students here in September. And she had a lot of questions. We're going to go through them. Mike's going to give us answers. But before we start that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I want to encourage everybody to subscribe to this channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show, or a thumbs down if you don't, and hit the notification and just watch the video. You'll learn stuff. That's what we're here. It's an education for everybody to open their eyes of what's going on in this city. Before we get into that, Mike, thank you for coming in. I just got to pay some bills here.
You know what? I love it. I love hearing about the sponsors. People that would sponsor community news and engagement is phenomenal. So thank you to all these sponsors, and I want to hear exactly who they are.
Okay, well, the first one is Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Second one is Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Now, we're looking at the fall here. We've got another week and a half, 2 weeks before we're into September. Kids are back to school. And you know what that means? We're not far off from the weather starting to change, although today, you'd swear to God, it was a nice end of September day. But it's happening. And you want to make sure your car is running great. You want to make sure your brakes are done, everything's safe. The whole system in your car is working properly, so you don't have breakdowns. And, you know, you're getting into another season now, so there's seasonal things that you should be doing with your car. And yeah, you can close that door if you like, Mike.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's all right. Just speak into the mic. And you want to make sure that everything's taken care of. So be proactive. Don't be reactive. Go down to see Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Get your car on his diagnostic equipment. See if there's anything wrong with it before something does go wrong with it. Make sure your oil's changed. Make sure your winter tires are out there and ready to go on comes October, November. Make sure your car's running tip-top. That's what you want. And if you get in an accident, he's got a full body shop there. Take it there. He'll put it back into showroom condition after you smash it up. And at the end of the day, you're going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. Ken's going to be happy. And we thank you very much for going to see our sponsors.
Absolutely.
Supporting our sponsors. That's what I'm looking for. Support the sponsors. Ken Hunter, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, Niagara Falls, Ontario, right next to the Kia dealership. And if you come downtown tonight, there's a car show downtown every Tuesday night. And Ken Hunter will be front and center with his two beautiful cars. And he's one of the main sponsors of that. So thank you for contributing to the community and giving back, Ken. Okay, so Mike, oh boy, this is kind of a schmozzle, this whole university thing. And I don't think anybody, or not too many people in Niagara Falls, know the extent of what's actually going on. So First of all, let's review part one. What is University of Niagara Falls and what's going on with it? And then we're going to get into part two.
So, the University of Niagara Falls is a product of global university systems. That is a for-profit company. They are known in Canada for their immigration, low-tier studies. They are the biggest importer of Canadian students on immigration visas in British Columbia. And we know right now that there's massive protests across the country, coast to coast to coast, because of the fraud. Okay. And Gus is complicit in it. And it's become so apparent with what's going on here that not only is Gus complicit in their human trafficking, right? And again, we define that on when you start encouraging people to lie on their forms, that is the start of the lie. And it never, ever, ever ends.
So what is the actual lie?
So first off, where we've extended the corruption is now Jim Diodati and his right-hand man, the CAO, Jason Burgess. I have actually asked for both of their resignations based on the non-answers that they have given, okay? In terms of what resources these families coming here, okay? In terms of the resources that they're going to need. They're claiming that because they're master students and because they already have families, that they're going to have more money and not require more resources. And when I heard that from Jason Burgess and Jim Diodati nervously trying to have his head go yes, it was just a turning point here. Both of those guys are extremely articulate, but if you're bringing 2,000 people here from a developing country, what we've seen is that we haven't had any level of assimilation. So people don't even know what law and order is. I get people around here taking care of their dirty business by my shop. And I get it. I mean, you have to go. It's a right, but there's a law for a reason that you can't just drop your pants and take care of your business wherever you want. And everybody's done it. Okay. But if somebody says to me, please stop, I don't confront them like I'm part of the problem. I say, thank you for telling me. So this is kind of the issue that we get when you just focus in on an international base. Okay. And the international base isn't even dispersed. So you focus in on one community. Okay. Lori Lococo brought up about the Facebook group, University of Niagara Falls for Filipinos. There was nothing about AI or data management. They know that these streams are going to lead nowhere. Okay. AI is Google. AI is not what Jim Diodati is pretending it's going to be. And he didn't do any due diligence. And it tells me that it's because he wants his best friend forever, Sheldon Levy, to get the best spot in the known universe to put a campus. And so you asked me a direct question, what is the lie? The lie is that they're not coming here to study AI. They're coming here to never, ever, ever leave. So you start lying on your immigration form about, hey, I have to check off that I'm willing to leave. I have to check off that I have XYZ. What we've seen is Paul, I wish that we could trust people. I grew up with law and order, and I grew up with thou shalt not lie. And I abide by that because cortisol gets stuck in the body and lies are heavy. Lies are extremely, extremely heavy. And what we've done here is we're setting people up for failure. This is a great spot. And if Gus wants to do business down here, so be it. You can bribe whoever you want in the Doug Ford government to get your accreditation, but I'm coming for that as well. So you don't have to worry about that. But what I want to know with Jim Diodati is first off, when I asked June 28th to cease and desist, he didn't. And furthermore, he has city land in the most prime spot in the known universe on the block for Gus, a for-profit company. And that makes me sick to my stomach. No, everybody listening, get on the horn, to the counselors, no public lands to Gus. The whole immigration system is riddled with irregularities, with illegalities, and as a citizens, we pay the price. Okay. Now, I did have the pleasure of having two of the students that are taking part in the master's program show up at the Snappy Bike Shop. And I politely said, I'm sold out. Like, there's nothing really left to discuss. I'm sold out. And right away, there was a language barrier. There was an entitlement that she got to talk to me. And she actually stopped me, like, outside of my shop, her and her friend, like, looking in the windows, calling my phone and all this type of stuff. And I said, like, I mean, you get it. I got customers coming in and out that have paid me for a serious service. And I got somebody here that won't even go on my website, doesn't even care. And then what they did is that instead of using their real name that showed up on the call display, Pawan Deep Core, she made up a false Google account. So you get into the fakeness already. So this is from a fake account, Rosalind Tour. We visited shop to ask a rental bike. We were waiting to talk as he was busy with costumes. He showed us door and did not bother even to talk. Rude and mannerless. I was waiting for half an hour outside the shop. He opened the door and said, first language is not English. I'm not comfortable to talk. Just go. I said, I'm university student doing masters, so my English is not that much bad. You can't even understand what I'm trying to say. Listen, I listen to what everybody says because I am in the moment. That's my thing. The eternal now is now. I don't have to wait for anything. So I like to have every single interaction with every single person. And I get flattered when somebody comes and they want to do business and stuff like that. But I didn't say just go. I said, please go online. There's a communication barrier. Everybody has to do a booking on my website. There's nothing to discuss. I can't go through. So this is how the ramifications go when you have the low tier. I do want to point out as well, Paul, that we have a trust in our society, in our community. We're based on trust. Trust is consciousness. Trust will set you free. And what we're getting is that people will do anything to lie. You know what, Paul? This might shock you, okay? But international students are let in on a consistent basis, having a lower tier required to get into the specific program. Number one. Number two, the immigration scams are huge, are absolutely huge. I want to talk about some of that and have it relating into this. So I do want to just say, first off, do you think I appropriately answered what the lie was?
Yes, I think you answered the lie, number one, very
Right.
well. And number two, when you look at this, what is a master's of AI? Who designated this? Some kind of master's.
Doug Ford on a piece of toilet paper.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, so it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. No. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. And number two, which concerns me, is that once they pay their money, however much it was, maybe you know how much it is. I don't know specific numbers, but when Lori Lococo was standing up there saying they were going to have 1,000 students in here in September, and we'll go through that a little bit later. We'll get more into that. But what concerned me is that they're allowed to bring their families over.
They're not here to study. They're here for permanent residency, and they won't stop at nothing.
That's the lie right there.
Well, that's what I said. Is I told you when I came here on the last pod, when I came here to Brock, I mean, it's a cultural shock going from Chatham, Kent to St. Catharines, let alone if you're going there. You don't even know where you're supposed to. I've been to India. I went backpacking through there, and those people are great. I went through in 2001. I did 3 months backpacking through Southeast Asia. They're wonderful, wonderful people. They have a nice, happy culture in the moment. I subscribe a bit to the Buddhism. Buddhism is Hindu is stripped, they say. So I have no qualms. But the thing is that there's families living in train stations. They're just holes in the ground with what you're doing. So we need to realize that there has to be a level of assimilation. Jim Diodati at the meeting said they don't need doctors. They don't need doctors. We don't care about that. Lori Lococo, man, is she stoic.
Mm-hmm.
She's stoic. 9 hours and 2 minutes, and she's talking about landfill. And then after that, Mayor Jim, hopefully ex-Mayor Jim, just basically lost all your credibility, Jim, Jim tried to pull a fast one and tried to close out the meeting. And then the most beautiful words of, Lori, sorry. Yes, I'd like to pull 9.4. And then Jim, 9.4. Where's the answers? Well, Jim, that's the thing, is the lie is heavy. Were you thinking about, the one night in Bangkok supposed to make a strong man humble? But at the end of the day, if you spend quite a few nights there on a VIP type trip and stuff like that, that can bring you back with a big ego and stuff like that. And I know, Mayor Jim, I know that you're back with the boys in blue, but I'll tell you this, okay, the police are not going to like coming down and dealing with the type of people that are starting to come into this place. They're going to start questioning who let these people in here. When you start talking about what's going on, I mean, everybody talks about mental health. How can you think that a newcomer coming from a third world country doesn't have even worse mental health than you? And we've seen it. We've seen the cops in Ottawa have to respond to a vicious slaying of a family of 6 by an international Bangladeshi student because you're just cooped up in a box and you can't do anything. You're just ready to explode. And that's what they're doing is that you noticed on the meeting with Lori is she asked about housing. And Jim said, well, based on the report from staff, is most of them said they didn't need housing. So number one, they're either going to stack themselves up in these little dormy Lundy's Lane motels, right? Or they're coming here basically naively. Could be also that they're just here to claim asylum like 500 of the students did last year, coached, because that's all the same thing, instead of, if you have some sort of fear, you can always move to another community. If I had a fear here in Niagara Falls, I could probably move to London, Ontario or something like that, and probably have little fear that somebody would make their way down to do that, right? So we just have to look at what the reality is. But yeah, I do get concerned about this whole wrap up in the lie, because what you have is you have people coming in from extremely, extremely, extremely well-known corrupt countries, and then they're met with immediate Canadian corruption. And it's just very, very concerning that it's just all the way around, because a lot of them use agents, right? But then they can clean their hands of it and says, well, the agent submitted the false documents. And, when they start on the asylum train never, ever ends. And just again, we just have to ask ourselves as a community, how corrupt are we willing to go? Right now, 25% of the Canadian workforce works for some level of government. And by the way that we're doing it is we're going to do this. Everything's just going to collapse under its own weight, because it starts with nobody wants to follow the basis of law and order. And I think that is one of the most basic tenets is that if you start lying, then it's just a slippery slope all the way down.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that when I see these bogus degrees that they approve or whatever they're doing, which really have no AI, what is that? It's the masters of AI. I just say that these are just ways to skirt the immigration laws. If they won't let you in one way, apply for a student visa and then get your whole family in. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, call me crazy.
You were absolutely right. And that's really what I want to do is I want to talk about who is involved really in this.
Okay, well, let's just talk about Lori Lococo for a minute.
Absolutely. And she's very involved, yes.
Yeah, she's very onto it. And she's the only one
that is correct.
That is bringing it up at City Council ever.
That is correct.
She says that we're expecting some 1,000 to 2,000 students to arrive next month, which is only 2 weeks away.
Yes.
And they don't have housing.
Right.
They don't have food.
Right.
They don't have an income.
Right.
They don't have social services. So they're going to overwhelm the city. The hospitals, the education, the schools, if they bring their whole family in, the housing, everything's going to be overwhelmed. The emergency rooms, whatever services they need, they don't have, of course.
They're going to need everything. City. They're going to need everything. So again, if somebody was to ask me if I was the mayor, and I have no political ambitions whatsoever, if I was mayor and somebody said, I want to put a private school in there, I mean, I would not be saying what's in it for me. I would say what's in it for the people that I represent. And it's been a slippery slope down that way as well. You know, Lori Lococo has been the only one that has stood up.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just have mad props for her because, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this is the most undeveloped area in possibly the whole universe. Okay. What we have out here on Queen Street is we have a lot of vacant parcels of land, but we're in the most significant natural energy field in the universe, right? We are water creatures. That's why we all line up by the water. You have a million bathtubs of fresh water flowing over those falls every single minute. And it's just very, very powerful. Right out here, just about a half kilometer from here, we're at the river as we go down this way. And that is where the water gets into some of the fastest rapids in the world. And I see people getting off the train and you just know it's such a magnetic place. I know for myself that if I called up probably any university or college in North America and I said, I want to hold a world-class competition to bring a world-class campus to the best place in the known universe. And I guarantee you, most of them would be down here with a pitch to check it out. People want to come down here and celebrate life and celebrate Mother Nature and celebrate peace and democracy and freedom and not have fear of law and order and not be in a place like Brampton or Kitchener where you would never, ever, ever want to go back to again. The crime's out of control. You have carjackings up 300% there. I'm concerned for myself. I just showed you a 1-star review. Somebody gives you a 1-star review, they want you out of business. I didn't even do anything. I said, sorry, we're sold out. What else am I supposed to say? There's nothing more to say. But that's where you get into a requirement to have a certain cultural intelligence, a certain emotional intelligence that you don't have to write something up. And I just a general, adaptability to what's going on. Thank you for telling me. That's a fine thing for you to say, not to get into an argument with somebody because they're not culturally ready for this type of place.
And that's a great point. That's a great point because it's way different where they come from than it is here.
I'm talking about, I've been there. It's like, I don't even know how else to say it. Like, I mean, the thing is them living stacked up. Like, there's articles, I can put this out. Again, I like to be high vibe. I don't like to sully myself up with this. But I mean, you have 25 people. You have 25 people living in a basement in Brampton. This is coming from politicians that are banging on the doors to get votes. They could say, hey, look, if you're all at the same address, I could do what Trudeau's doing, and I could bundle you all up to vote for me, and then we can skew democracy and just throw it all out the window. Right. And that's what we're becoming is that it's just the endless lies lead into law and order. Right. So say even like, global news, they're saying everybody is entering at Yonge and Eglinton. Not everybody, but people are entering Yonge and Eglinton subway in a dangerous area so they can skew the fares. And then it was like, yeah, well, we're all international students from Sir Fleming College across there. Like they're not, it's just, you talked about the food banks, and Victor didn't believe it, Councillor Victor. But I mean, again, he just puts his head where he wants it to be. But no, there is abuse and a hell of a lot of use of the food banks at the community from the international students. Now, granted, the international students have been cheated by companies like Gus and Gus's diploma mill that they made a deal with Niagara College and all across there and stuff like that. The diploma mills come to an end today. Okay. It's just, it's got to go. I just get a real education, put in something for Medicare or for construction. I know I talked to a guy that has a private university, Tesla University. His name's Francisco. And he said that he was wanting to discuss city backing and putting. And I mean, there was other ones as well. Niagara University in Buffalo wanted to put something there. They have deep pockets. They would have said, hell yeah, I'll put a medical field in there. This is the best place in the world. This is no lands to Gus, no lands to anybody. Get a real campus down here and let's blow this place up proper. Because again, right now, I like the vibes. You have to be careful about the gentrification of it. 10,000, 20,000 students, that's ridiculous. Bring 1,000 medical students down here that have a proven track record at some sort of accredited institution, because the fake documents to get into these schools are prolific. The cheating on the English is prolific. You saw how that lady was defensive. I just said, I cannot, like, she had an extremely thick accent. And I try to hear, because I try to challenge myself. I had no ill will towards it. I'm busy with customers. You're obviously trying to tell me something that's really not important to me, because customers are more important. So again, I want to bring people down here proper. If Jim's tongue tied, put me on pro bono. Okay? I will call every single university president, and I will get them down here, and I will get them to put a world-class campus right here that we can all be proud of.
How did we end up with Gus of all of them?
Well, I think that that's really important when we ask it. That is that there obviously is a personal connection. Okay, now we do have Gus throwing money around. We know about the trip to Thailand. We don't know the specifics. Okay, we know that there was a grant to the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub of at least 150 to 200 grand, I believe. Okay, so they can tell me otherwise. They can come on the show and refute everything I say and say, no, this will be an AI. We're going to be dialed into Mars in no time. But right now what I'm seeing is again, like the tentacles that they're throwing out there it's called grease money, right? You're greasing people up. So if you bring in 200 grand, well, you bought access into city property for your students in the Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub, right? The last time I was at the hub's right in my backyard. I love them because it's better than it's a great thing, but bring in higher tiers of businesses, right? The last time I was there was 2022, a great event, women's event and stuff like that. But I got uncomfortable because Dino, the $1 million fraud artist, was just hobnobbing with everybody, including the mayor.
Fazio?
I believe that's
Dino,
his name.
is that his name?
The guy that started Spark.
I don't know which one that was.
If you look it up, you'll find it. Put in Dino, Niagara, or District School Board of Niagara, $1 million fraud, Dino, put his wife in there.
Where did he come from? Where did he come
from? So what he was is he was the chief technology officer. So what he did is he set up a company. And then he submitted a total of millions of dollars worth of invoices.
Where did he work before that?
He was there a lifetime employee.
Okay, so it wasn't the same guy. It wasn't Dino Fazio.
No. I think his last name, I would have to double look. I personally I try to stay high vibrational. If anybody wants to check something and split hairs, go for it. I just try to connect the dots. I try to get in a little bit on the web in terms of the not the World Wide Web, but the web of all the stuff going around and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to is why Gus, right? Why Gus? What is it in for the community? And then when you get tongue tied, right? When you get tongue tied, then you're lying. You're lying, Jim. Watch the last council meeting. I was there in person and I loved it. You see democracy, everybody's cool, but to see what I look for in politicians is I look for trust. I look for self-respect. I look for authenticity. And this is the rarest thing that you can get. Stoicism. To be in the moment and to bring it. And Lori Lococo did that. 9 hours and 2 minutes. Okay. Now she pulled that. And Jim, if you look at it, watch it for yourself. I may do a dissection video on it, but I do have other things to do. But he couldn't stop trying to find the answers. His brain is spinning like there's no tomorrow. And the reality is that because of the non-answers that you didn't think that they needed anything because they were master students with families, those people have less money. Now, again, what the crook is that they're not saying come study AI in Niagara Falls. They're saying that the University of Niagara Falls is for Filipinos to game the Canadian system, and it starts with lying. You see, I showed you this review. Do you think that lady even knows how to spell AI? The lady that did the review?
No.
I know you're distracted by...
I'm distracted by... Somebody was walking in and out of here. I'm just making sure he doesn't leave with anything.
Oh, okay. That's...
I didn't lock the door. That's the problem, right? I forgot to lock the door.
Oh, no problem.
That's right. He didn't look like he took anything. Everything's good. But anyway, yeah. like she probably couldn't spell AI. She didn't know anything, and I'm surprised she didn't cry racism. You're not
Well, this
giving
is
it
the
to
thing
me
is, yeah,
because you're
yeah,
racist.
yeah. Well, this is the
That's
thing.
a normal
This
chance.
is the thing is that, and even look how she wrote it, right? I mean, she definitely can't spell artificial intelligence. You know, I'm just talking about everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Every is just at the.
The bloody racist psycho.
I excluded that. I didn't know if you were going to get hit with the censors.
No. But I just said.
No, this is the thing is that you're absolutely right.
No, I'm looking at it right here. Bloody racist psycho. She wrote.
She wrote. Now,
how about you,
Paul? What I want to say about that is this: to everybody out there, all the DEI and all the weak woke people and stuff like that, right? I get it. We've all been through trauma. I went through the Catholic Church. If you want to talk about something, I can probably throw that out to you, and we would be crying there for, days and months on end. You know what I mean? But what we know is that in 2023, the word of the year was gaslighting. Stop the gaslighting. Just because I have a different opinion doesn't mean that I need to go humble myself and dumb myself down, right? I want to bring people up. I'm willing to bring anybody up that wants to surrender to what the truth is, right? When you have everybody in your community that are packing on cortisol because they don't know when they're going to have to drop out of the AI, and then Gus will come to them and say, well, just give me another $3,000 and we'll pass you, like they do at some of their other diploma mills, right? Travis, when they were with with Niagara College, like it's all just shifty stuff. Let's do a sit down. Let's do maybe a round table. Let's get the GNCC involved. Miska's involved with the Niagara College Board of Directors, and they're dirty in terms of bringing in the lowest tier immigration stream into their studies. Lowest, right? Go ahead.
So this connection, you said Jim Shayer. What was his name? Jim, that runs the college.
Which college? Gus?
Yeah, Gus.
Gus. Sheldon Levy.
Sheldon Levy, okay.
Yeah.
Why did I think Jim Shea? I don't know.
I was talking about Jim Shady. So maybe we had quantum Shady. Entanglement. Yeah. There's Slim Shady, but there's Jim Shady.
Jim Shady and Sheldon Levy.
Yes. Okay. That is correct. Yes.
So what's the connection between Jim Shady and that's Mayor Jim we're talking about, and Sheldon Levy?
Well, what we know is that Sheldon has a commercial relationship now with Jim Diodati's daughter. Okay. And so Jim Diodati needs to make the full extent of that. If you're in a commercial relationship where you're talking about on the lifetime of the contract, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on really where things are going to be proceeding. Again, what I look at is I look at the connectors of webs, and I just have a basic question. If the society wants to go to corrupt, then let's go corrupt. I mean, I will still fight it, but we have to look at how slippy we were going to go. I called out Jim and said, your daughter has a commercial relationship, cease and desist. He should address that head on, in that that's right. This is the parameters of my relationship, and I will not discuss selling city land with Gus ever, because that would make me, again, when you're talking about a for-profit thing and you're bringing all these people in to use city resources, and you're going to sell them land for cheap in the most undeveloped area, and you don't know that they're going to need the kitchens, and that they're going to need the hospitals, and that they're going to need the police, and they're going to need lawyers, and they're going to need the criminal justice system. And we know for a fact that some of them will be claiming asylum as a backdoor entry. So we have to look at when you have to take somebody completely into the government hands. And now, because we have such a backlog of it, right? Now we have such a backlog of it that they get lost in the system, and then they become undocumented people, and then they just become part of the society. And look, everybody has a right to try to come to Canada. They should be filling out their own paperwork. I have a rule at my thing is, if you can't fill out a waiver form or you can't do a booking online, then you can't ride. I mean, it's just a basic thing. If you can't fill out some forms to apply, because there's hundreds of thousands of people that got into these fake universities and colleges through fake letters. So what somebody would do, right, is they would say, okay, look, I need papers, I need English, and this is a fact. So you get the English, you pay the guy off, right? You need papers locally. You need to get into a Canadian university. But the problem is that if you put, I'm going to a diploma mill, I have no money, blah, 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 then they're going to reject you. But if you put in there that you got into the University of Regina or something like that, then they say, hey, this person's serious. University of Regina, you need 80% standard. So what they realize is that there's hundreds of thousands of these students that got in that shouldn't have got in. So again, now you convolute the system again. And what's going on as well is that people are here for PR, right? So Paul, what they do is if they can find out they can get PR 6 months faster in PEI, they're going to fly them and their family and all their friends out to PEI, set up camp there, get the most menial jobs as possible. How is that for productivity? How is this review that somebody gave me, a 1-star review, how is that enhancing productivity, right? When I'm trying to deal with people that don't even understand the basis of law and order, number one, and the basis of cultural, emotional, and social intelligence.
I think you really have to kind of. It sounds like you're a little bit mad somebody gave you a 1-star review.
I don't care.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
I don't
here.
care.
So, like, when this relates to the whole thing, how does this 1-star review tie into the whole thing that's going on?
This is
to let people know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So I thank you for bringing this up. Okay, so we got our first University of Niagara Falls student to our shop. Okay, it resulted in a 1 out of 5 review. Okay, so she's telling me that she's a master's English student, but her English is way off. So what I'm looking at this as a barometer of people. If you're doing an English complacency for AI on this. Okay, if you're doing an English complacency for AI, then if you're doing an English complacency for AI, it's just, this would be completely unacceptable to get into any reputable university that had an AI program. Number one. Number two, you're right. It did hurt me, but I move on. For every in, there's an out, and I move on and I get stronger. Not in terms of just as a person. I'm very relaxed, right? Everything is very cool. Now, with the 1-star review, it does affect me because somebody's trying to put me out of business. I don't know that they're so pissed off that they're going to come back. Because when I closed the door, she was actually screaming through the door through customers and stuff. I didn't know if she was going to come back because she was frustrated because she spent all that time out there and then couldn't talk when she was talking to me, right? Well, so go ahead.
Yeah, what disturbs me about this,
right?
This okay, a bad review is a bad review. Not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody, and there'll be people who do love you. Not everybody's going to love everything, right? But this last statement, bloody racist psycho, right? That disturbs me.
I know.
That really disturbs me. That right there is more disturbing than the rest of the letter, right? Because the rest of the letter is just her side of the story,
right?
Right? The real side of the story. There's always three sides: her side, his side, the truth.
Yeah.
But at the end of that, calling you a bloody racist psycho, that right there seems to be the theme of a lot of the people that are coming here. If they don't get their way, if you don't cater to them, if you don't bend to their needs, then what happens? You're called a bloody psycho racist. And we see it all the time.
And they're coached on that too, right? I mean, anytime you don't get your way, do the three word that just spices it out. Do it all in caps, and to me, again, it's just, I had the same thing happen to me in 2020. And I said last time, Niagara College, you had 3 students show up, couldn't read a rental agreement. They all give me 1 out of 5 reviews. I mean, again, it's part of it, but at the end of the day, there's accountability. And then I'm going to write to the college and tell them that it's completely unethical what they're trying to do, right? The people from Niagara College were in the tourism department there, and they're going to give me a 1 out of 5 review because they couldn't understand what was going on. I try to articulate myself. I learn from every single conversation. I will not stop learning, and that's the most beautiful thing.
Okay, I'm just going to get to my second sponsor.
Please.
And then I want to see where this Innovation Hub connects with this university. Right. And I'll also tell you a story about the Innovation Hub that happened to me.
Cool.
Okay, and you can comment on that if you like. So
I'd love to.
My second sponsor, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. So for all your lighting, outdoor lighting needs, when you see a house beautifully lit up, it's not by accident. Hamilton Glowstone Lighting is the leader in permanent outdoor lighting. They come into your house. They look at everything. They put up track lighting if you want it. They build it in zones.
Yes.
So that you can change it. You can have red and green for Christmas, orange for Halloween,
Love it.
green for
That's
St.
cool.
Patrick's Day, yellow for e-bike rental day.
Love it.
You can have it any color you want. You can celebrate any holiday, any birthday, any anniversary. It doesn't matter. There's a million different colors, all controlled from your phone. Now, they're so confident in their product, they have a lifetime warranty on it. Every joint, everything is sealed against dust and moisture. You don't have to worry about it. Lifetime warranty. Unbelievable. It's a fantastic product. And
Awesome.
also, it adds value to your house. It adds safety to your house. It lights up pathways and driveways. It does it all in one place, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. So how do you get a look at this fantastic product? Well, you can go to glowstonelighting.com on the internet and see their gallery of beautiful pictures. And that's GLOWSTONE just like it sounds.com. Check out their gallery, see what it's like. And also, if you want a free quote, yeah, that's right, a free quote from Colin Buckborough, who is the proprietor, you call 289-969-1797. Colin Buckborough will come out, give you a free quote. And if you really want to Griswold your house, I mean, you want to take it to the limit, just like Christmas vacation, hey, they have available financing. You can finance it so you don't have to plop down a big wad of cash to do it. That's Colin Buckborough, 289-969-1797. Give him a call today. Tell him Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And I'll tell you, once you get those lights up and they're working, you're going to be the happiest camper around. You're going to have a one-of-a-kind house in the neighborhood. It just stands out that much. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. Okay, let's get back to this now. Innovation Hub. This thing is a $700,000 a year taxpayer donation to it, basically.
Yes, it is.
They take it out of our pocket
yes,
to run this. Lori Lococo, Councilor Lococo, once again, she don't let anything get by her, and when she stands up and asks questions, it's because she wants to know for the taxpayers. And these guys roll their eyes at her and that because she's always got a question, and that's because she does her homework. But the Innovation Hub, $700,000. She said there's other companies from outside of Niagara Falls going there and using their facilities and getting help. And she's wondering why the city's paying $700,000 towards it when they're not for the city. And I'll tell you my experience with them. I was looking to do maybe a podcast.
Okay.
But this studio really, really isn't great for podcasts. I have to take everything apart and set everything up. They have a nice room. So I was thinking about going down there and seeing what they could offer me. So I called up. Lori said, call Innovation Hub. They should be able to help you.
Absolutely. They have a beautiful facility. I mean, it's world class. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility.
Well, thank you very much. We paid for it.
I know.
So I go down there. I didn't go down there. I called up, left a message for Dan Bordelon or whatever, whoever the guy's name is. Never got a call back.
Really?
So 3-4 weeks later, after I never got a call back, I called up again. This time I got a hold of somebody. And she said, oh, that's great. Yeah. Just send an email. She gave me this email of somebody there. I can't remember the name now. And I sent an email, never got a reply back. And so I've just given up now. I mean, obviously they're a bunch of, I don't know what they're up to down there or what's going on. I do know that Jim Diodati's campaign manager has got a position there.
Yeah, the whole thing. They're driving Porsches in there, Porsche 911.
And we're, so I'm just wondering, Mike. I'm not saying there's anything going on. It was involved with that Spark innovation,
right.
Which was under investigation at some point in the past.
Well, yeah, there was a lawsuit against the principals there, and I mean, some the people that were involved in there and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's you know what? Just get value for money is what it comes down to. If you're closing the Chippewa Library and you're giving some other place, like to some degree, your friends, $700,000. See what it is? It's a slush fund, right? Because what it is that money goes through the for-profit holding company. So I don't know who's specifically on the board of directors there.
The city council.
I mean, the thing is, I like Dan. He's a nice guy and stuff like that. But as far as I know, he hasn't sold $1 worth of business. So how can you be leading it if you don't even have any experience? So what they do is then they have all the consultants that come in. Now you have the Santa from Welland. At some point, I have a last straw of just saying, hey, they're not doing their due diligence, right? Victor, just get off the Jim Shady train, okay? This isn't a diss. You know, I saw your son. I believe it was your son with you and stuff, and I respect you and stuff like that. But you questioned Lori saying that the students may need access to soup kitchens when you're questioning why she would do that. You also questioned Dan in a non-question by saying to Dan after he did his presentation as the interim CEO about 2 years ago, you responded by, no questions to ask here. Everything's perfect. You don't even want to know how many people applied and how many people you had to reject and how many people you had in the pipeline and where they came and where did they live? How did they find it? How are they loving it here? When are we going to start seeing a payoff on the Sun 700K? I don't want those boys just running up a high expense account and getting big because they know that they can throw around those credit cards with impunity and they can throw around a heavier one because we have to find out, well, Gus has approached people there about coming into the fold here, right? So again, you're just having grease monies all the way around. So what you have is you have the trifecta that all have the same branding. You have the City of Niagara Falls, you have the University of Niagara Falls for-profit fake AI Institute, and then you have the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub. I like the Innovation Hub because it gets you noticed, but the guys, in my opinion, are going after extremely low tier businesses, and they should have a little bit more pride in their workmanship in this area and bring people in here that belong. But again, if you set the standard so low and you have people that are already part of an organized criminal enterprise like Dino, his wife, and that Hopkins guy who got nailed in it too, and there's another guy there, I'd have to look up his name, but he was dragged into it too because he was complicit because they were forging paperworks there too. And it is my understanding. Again, you're getting government grants, right? So again, it's like, well, it's the government. They're people pushers. But now you have 25% of the workforce working for the dole. And guess what? The services are getting worse. The quality of life is getting worse. There's nobody here. You know, our highlight of Niagara College and of, CBC News right now, and the Niagara Falls put out a story first on an immigrant student that is a driver in Niagara, and he just put 1 million kilometers on his Honda. So that's our success story here for the immigrants that we're bringing in through the Niagara College program as a driver that put 1 million kilometers on his Honda.
And he was at the Innovation Hub?
He wasn't. Oh. But I'm just saying that he went through Niagara College. But I'm saying that all of this type of stuff is you're just putting out people for the lowest tier because you're not having any qualifications, number one, that mean anything. And number two, to even enforce those qualifications, you don't have an additional check and balances. I believe it was Gus's students out in BC that were protesting because the government said, we're not going to accept you into the low wage stream, number one. And number two, you have to take an English complacency exam. And they said, we're not doing that because they realized, just like Niagara College, this all came out in lawsuits and through the paper investigative. And they're going to do this on the University of Niagara Falls because I'll be hitting them up. But they're all doing the pen click. These people that get out in your community that don't even speak English and stuff like that, is just, at the end of the day, having diversity in values is not a good thing. If I think that you should act a certain way and do anything like that, I agree with freedom. I agree with Western values, and I agree with law and order. Justin Trudeau did not think that we had a post-national state, meaning we had no identity. Well, tell that to the people that fought in World War I and II for our democracy, just so that you can flood this place with whatever George Soros' plan is to bring people in. And look, we can all do this together. The world's a beautiful place. But right now, again, that cortisol, it's so locked in the bodies and stuff like that. And we have to unwind it, but we can't keep winding it up with more and more lies. We have to have proper mentors. Niagara College degree doesn't mean anything. That's what they're spitting out as taxi drivers, right? You have University of Niagara Falls that wants to go even lower. Now, I want to bring up as well that the University of Niagara Falls has already put out via the GNCC a call to employers, the master students have time to work. They have time to work. They have time to work. There's a job board for employers like me. Maybe that's why Pawan Deep Core was banging on my door because she wanted to get a job. I don't know what she wanted. I couldn't understand, right? At the end of the day, I'm in business. I can't have myself, give my time to every single person who wants to bring a vibe down. Now, I want you to talk a bit, but I do want to talk about what Mark Miller, the immigration minister, from his own words this month, and from Pierre Poilievre, what they have said about the Canadian visa immigration scams by companies like Gus.
Go ahead.
Okay.
This show's about you, not about me. I'm
Thank
just
you so
watching.
much. Thank you.
I'm getting educated myself here, Mike.
I am too as we go. And I think that's the important thing is that I'm not attached to anything except for the truth. And I'm not on a one way. If Jim sat down here and we went through this and he explained everything and stuff like that, then we can have it. But this is what we're looking out there to everybody. Okay. This is from Mark Miller, the immigration minister. We can't have an unbridled backdoor entry into Canada under the guise of an international student program that has seen exponential increases in its volume. So that does need to come under control. Now the asylum claims have come through the roof, right? So we have hundreds of people claiming asylum at Niagara College. And again, they're being coached to do it. So you have the human trafficking going on. Okay. So the Immigration and Refugee Board is already struggling with a growing backlog of processing time, which means if people make unfounded asylum claims, that's potential for them to stay and work in the country longer than if on a visitor visa. It is important to bolster the integrity of the visa processing system, he said, given that many asylum seekers were temporary residents who came as visitors, students, and workers. The system itself is undermined when we see flows that are coming in and not, Gus, hear me out, and not for the reasons that they were supposed to in the first place. Miller said he's working with Employment Minister Randy to make changes to the labor market impact assessment process to ensure only employers faced with the real labor shortage are entitled to bring in foreign workers. LMIA fraud is a big concern, when they're tying this all in. Now, this is important. This is coming from Pierre.
What's LMIA?
So that is a market impact assessment. Okay. So Trudeau ran this up from 60,000 to 200,000. So let's say if you're looking for an assistant and you have somebody that you want from a specific place, you're going to give that job to somebody else because what's happening. So what we're looking at, so I'm glad you asked that question because I want you to see this first and then maybe you can point that up. Just read off what the headline is.
Bribes, fake jobs, and the desperate situation facing Canada's temporary residents.
So, listen, if you don't mind just reading that.
Okay, this says Justin Trudeau's government radically transformed Canada's temporary foreign worker program. Young people and low-wage workers are paying the price.
Okay, and this is the most damning. This is the most damning right here. And I'm going to have you read that. And I can't even believe we're saying this. Go ahead and read that headline.
Canada's foreign worker program, a breeding ground for contemporary slavery.
So we have modern day slavery here. Okay. So, I mean, it makes me want to cry because again, that it never ends well with this type of trafficking. So I want to repeat, the UN has done a deep dive on Trudeau's temporary foreign program and said it's modern day slavery, rife with abuse. Number one. Number two, wait till they look at what they did to the international students. That's going to be even worse. I guarantee you. It'll be even worse.
Well, I gotta think there's something to this because you're bringing people in, right, as students on these student visas. There's no jobs, no housing, no food, no nothing. And
no education.
So what are they?
Well, that's the thing is you're stacked on top of each other. And that's the thing is then you get into scams because the gangs now in Toronto, right? The auto theft gangs are huge. So all those students are no-shows. Those ones with the fake letters, were no-shows, right? So what they do then is they gang bang, right? We had the guys from that killed the Punjabi guy. And I know I talked to you about it last time. The Sikh guy that was assassinated
in Vancouver.
In Vancouver,
yes,
that is correct.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what happened is, sorry, everybody over today.
You look like Jim there the other
day.
night.
I know. I feel. Did I not bring it? Listen, what it said is that the guy beat up 3 cops a few years before he killed that guy, right? So at the end of the day,
repeat offender.
At the end of the day, he's on a student visa and he beat up 3 cops, but he gets due diligence under that process, right? Another one. So this was in the Toronto Sun yesterday. Okay, mm-hmm. The guy, one of the bangers there was 3 bangers all on student visas. One of them, they said he got in a fight with 3 cops and beat him up, and he should have been deported. Was really what the op-ed was stating. Now another one of those bangers got his student visa within 2 days, and he actually did a promo on the agent that filed the fake paperwork to get him in so he could bang on the highest levels in Canada. So there's no processes to any of this. The colleges want their money. Miska wants her money as the board of directors. She doesn't want to ask, well, how did we get a $60 million surplus? Well, we ripped off all the foreign students, and that's why they're claiming asylum. That's why they're at the food banks.
And what is the guarantee that we're not getting the worst of the worst?
We are getting the worst of the worst. I just showed you. Yeah. Like the thing about
that's the whole thing.
This is the thing. The people that don't want housing are coming here for nefarious reasons. You need a house. You're either stacking, you're not going to school, you're claiming asylum, you're being lied to. The agents are running that Niagara Falls Facebook group, right? So the reality is, what are the agents telling them? If I tell you, hey, go recruit me students, but I don't want to hear anything you're telling them, you're complicit in the lie. I want to tell you, when you get a sec, about what Pierre said about the immigration.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this is most likely the next Prime Minister of Canada, if he doesn't do, what Jim Shady, what Jim Diodati's doing right now, which he just blew up his career. You wanted to go to bat, and it's come to an end now. You missed this quote, Jim Diodati, from our so friend, Pierre Poilievre. Trudeau has destroyed our entire immigration system, and he has expanded our temporary foreign worker program by well over 200% at a time when we're losing jobs. And that was at an event on Steel Coal in Hamilton on Friday. Pierre Poilievre noted that when he was responsible for that, the program, there were only 60,000. Okay. So right now it's near 200,000. Okay. This is what I want to point out. And I want Gus and I want Jim Shady to be listening. Okay. And same with probably Jason Burgess too. Okay. On top of that, you have international students who are here effectively temporary foreign workers who came under the wrong stream. That's what they are. They're just coming here to survive. They're coming here for PR. If you're doing AI, why the hell would you come here? This is a joke. You're gonna hang out with somebody that's like can't even speak English. No, you're gonna go to a real thing. The thing is that it's just caught up. Jim didn't do any due diligence on it, and he thought everybody was dumb here and wouldn't do any due diligence either. I'm not the only one speaking about it. Miller's talking about it. Pierre's talking about it. Lori Lococo's talking about it. And she said, everybody's talking about it in that, hey, I feel a level of unsafe. And again, it's just because people are struggling because they're not being assimilated with even a tiny bit of Canadian mentorship. There's just corruption on corruption.
But why would the mayor of Niagara Falls bring this into the city without doing due diligence to make sure everything was on the up and up? And why wouldn't he know, or does he, the stuff that you know?
Well,
you're laying it right in front of us.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in Bangkok, but I want to find out, right? So I told you I've been to India. I went through all Southeast Asia and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, no, these are all nice people. I have nothing against the people. The question is I want you to be successful. If you don't know your English, you got to get it up. You got to get it up, or you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle, and it's not what we need. You just have to work. The body and the brain and the heart are so intelligent, and anybody can do anything if they have the will. But when the will is the lie, well, I'm sorry, Jim. I'm sorry, Jim Shady. I'm sorry to everybody out there in TV land. But the reality is this: every lie has a debt to the truth, baby.
Yeah, that's the truth right there.
Yes. And the thing is that the debt is due.
Let me ask you one more question before we end it, because we're at 1 o'clock here.
Yes, please.
Do you feel, and
Right.
this could be a yes or no question,
Please.
do you feel there's a need for an investigation from the OPP, the CPP,
Well,
the RCMP, any three-lettered organization to get to the bottom of this whole innovation
Right.
hub,
Yeah.
Gus,
Yeah.
and the whole thing about this thing? 'Cause to me, it
yeah.
all sounds pretty shady. That's just to me.
You know what? It stinks. And you know, the whole thing about the stink is that you cover your nose when you hear it. You cover you just you can smell it. It's disgusting. And I sense that at the meeting there, Jim. I mean, I saw Burgess walk out like a broken man, right? And again, that was a 10-hour meeting, so I get it and stuff like that. But again, it's just at the end of the day, it takes a lot of strength to hold the lies, right? What I want, this is what I would personally want, is just to shut it all down. The Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub. Yeah, I don't like, you are getting people in. I think it's actually good. And I think that you just have to have a process of checks and balances. University of Niagara Falls, Gus, see you later. We'll bring a new campus here. The reality is that the only way for the mayor out of this is to resign, and he's got to bring a CAO with him. You enhanced the business of your friend, Sheldon Levy, again, at the expense of the citizens of Niagara Falls. And that is unlawful. It's unacceptable, and it's a resignable offense. And I mean, if that's the case, then let it go. But as this stuff comes coming in, because I can't stop. I mean, I'm going to be calling the immigration officer and finding out who the hell are these people coming in here. We know it's a scam. We know the whole thing's been a scam. I just wrote you what the emails were. I didn't coin the term diploma mill or predatory diploma mill. That's in the marketplace. That's what these schools are, is paper for paper. Paper for paper. You need papers. I need green paper. That's just the way that it works. And people get diluted because they think that material will drive them to enlightenment, and it's not. It's a feeling of just peace. Peace is here. Let's bring something real. I will be happy to sit down and talk with anybody. I'll bang out a call to anybody. I guarantee you we could do something like Amazon did when they wanted to get their second world headquarters. They had a world-class competition. I guarantee you every single person wants to have a campus right here. I guarantee you. And he could have done that. And for him to want to put it to his friend and try to pull a fast one on the people in such a predatory way. I mean, you're not talking about just ripping off the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub and closing the Chippewa Library. You're talking about human trafficking, right? Hey, lie on that.
Basically.
Lie. It's when you start lying, you're complicit. When you have 3 or more people that have a conspiracy to commit a crime, that is organized crime. Listen, the truth will set you free. Let it go. We'll all let it go. Let's start from scratch. University of Niagara Falls, take your predatory diploma bill out to pastor, take Mayor Jim Shady and Jason Burgess with you. Again, let's see what happens. You know, Mayor Thompson or Councillor Thompson, he was on the call, and he was incoherent. Now, I don't know if it was just a one-off, but he was incoherent. There was only about 5 councillors left at the end. As you said, do they care? They're all wagging Diodati. But as I said, you have the backing of the boys in blue. But guess what? Because Diodati's backed in Hamilton, Niagara, you know, Toronto, OPP, right? So you would have to go, listen, it's not worth it. You fucked up. Sorry, you messed up, and you just have to move on, right? Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You know, but I do, yeah. You know, the thing about it is that, trust me, go to Brampton, go to Conestoga College, and see if you want that right here. And I guarantee you, I'll be out of here. I mean, once this hits 10,000 people like that are on that stream, I wouldn't be here. I mean, the vibrations are just not for me if I'm dealing with this type of people that, you know, have the entitlement. You talked about the comments that, again, somebody's going to say, and I even left it out just because, again, I didn't want to make it personal. I wasn't even making it personal about that. I'm just saying she couldn't even write. How are you supposed to study AI?
And on that note,
Yeah.
we're going to end this. Thank you for coming in.
Yes.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more questions in the following months, and we want to get you back in again to keep us updated on this. This isn't going to go away. Mike's not going to let it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My name is Paul Killamere. This is Your City, Your Voice. Thank you so much for coming in, Mike. Always a pleasure. And like I said, you're like a pit bull. You're not going to let this go. You're going to get answers, and we want to know the answers when you get it. So don't forget to come in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all our sponsors, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Thank you to our listeners. Hit the like button. Hit the don't like button. Put comments in there. If I don't answer them, Mike will. He'll see them there, and he'll answer.
Let her rep. Let her rep. Sharing is caring. And do not be afraid to care. Don't worry about the gaslighting. Let the gaslighting go. The gaslighting will run right past. Don't build into it. We'll get this done, and we'll bring people in here that want to have the highest vibe and commit to Western culture and law and order.
And it's going to make for a better community. Have a great day, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow with Habsolutely at noon. All Habs, all show. Take care. Have a great day.
Sorry about that.